back to the Be Bunch channel. I'm Sam. This is Justine.
If you're new here, our channel is a family channel surrounding marriage, parenting, vlogs, and infertility. So if you're not new here, you'll know that in our pregnancy, I think it was our finding out, the finding out we were pregnant after infertility videos, that was a 2-part video. We talked about like bonding with our daughter and what we chose to do, and we mentioned cocooning, and I said I was gonna do a future video on it, and then I realized I haven't done it, so we're gonna do that today. I'll probably link in the actual definition, but we learned about cocooning when we were going through our adoption journey. So a little bit of backstory: we went through infertility for 3+ years with our daughter, and we decided in 2020 to pursue domestic infant adoption. While going through that process, we got pregnant with our daughter and ended up putting our adoption on pause while focusing on our pregnancy. But during the 2020, while we were going through adoption, we had to do classes and adoption education, things like that. And they were talking to us about adoption trauma, and about how babies born into adoption, even newborns, they are newborns, but they do feel the trauma because they're separated from their birth families. And so they were talking about things you can do as adoptive parents to help that. And one thing that came up was cocooning. So you can say what it is.
Cocooning, you can kind of play around with the word, but is it like I saw it as more like a hibernation, like you kind of like close everything on, like it's only you, mom, and baby.
She's scared.
Now.
She's
Here
scared.
we go. See, there we
she
go.
wakes up, guys, and if she doesn't see us in the room, she's like, oh my God, they left me, I'm scared. No. So let me take over. Beta bond, and it is traditionally used in adoption situations. It's a way to do deep bonding with your baby, and it's normally used in adoption situations because you did not carry the child, or because you are not the biological parent. You want to deeply bond with the child. And cocooning is basically when you set a period of time. Say hi, Anna. When you set a period of time, look at that wake up here. You set a period of time that you're not going to have visitors, and it's usually in the first couple weeks of life. It could be 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, the first 3 months. It depends. The parents usually set the idea of how long they want to cocoon and how strict they want to be. And you set that time, and that is a time where you don't have visitors and you just have the child bond with the 2 parents or the 1 parent, whoever will be raising the child. And the notion in adoption is that they don't know you because you're not the birth family, and so you want to deeply bond. And the other notion that they told us was like, you want your kid to know that you are the parents and you are the one responsible for their life and their survival, and you also want them to just create a very close-knit natural bond with you. And it really spoke to us when we were going through the adoption process, and we planned on cocooning with our baby. Fast forward to 2021, finding out we were pregnant. We were still awaiting family, and we hadn't been matched. And when we found out we were pregnant, we decided that the best thing to do was focus on first the pregnancy and then reevaluate future family building journey later. And so when we paused the adoption, the conversation came up about whether bonding with our baby. So even though our baby was our biological child, we were pregnant now. I still really like the idea of cocooning, right? How did you feel about it?
I liked the idea of cocooning. It allowed us to bond a little bit more with the baby, and basically, it sounds a little funny the way you say it. I swear I'm using it loosely, like close off the world, but in reality, it really is about bond, and it kind of it gives you perspective to really see, right, where am I at in my life, and it really no, this is where I truly am at. My focus is here and here alone.
Yeah, I really liked it because, especially as a family who went through infertility, and when I was pregnant, I still felt like I wanted to really bond with the baby. And obviously when you're pregnant as the woman, you get to bond with the baby in a very unique way. But I couldn't wait to meet her, and it was still resonating with me that it was still resonating with me, guys, that I wanted to really bond with my kid and kind of shut out the world, like he said, and have no distractions. Not forever. Obviously, we want to share her with friends and family, and, you know, we share our journey on YouTube as well. But I wanted to have that intimate time, at least in the beginning, where it was just us. We had dreamed of that moment for so long, and she's so special, and getting pregnant after infertility was so special, and, you know, the birth and everything. And it kept playing in my head, like, we should still do this. So honestly, even my family our families knew before we got pregnant with the adoption. They knew, we had spoke to them about the cocooning and what we were gonna do. And, you know, at first they weren't thrilled. Some of them weren't thrilled because it meant that they couldn't have as much access to this newborn baby that they were gonna love as they wanted. But it was really about our family. So then when we found out we were pregnant, I think they thought that we weren't gonna do it, because initially we had said, you know, we're adopting this baby and we need to let them know that, you know, we are their parents and this deep bond. And when we got pregnant, I think they thought that we just were traditionally gonna do the thing where, I know a lot of people, when you get pregnant, when you give birth, a lot of people come over. I've seen it. And I think they just thought that, and I think the cocooning just kind of left their head. So when we mentioned it again around like maybe 6 months pregnant or so, we started mentioning, well, you know, we are still gonna do cocooning, or we are still gonna do a version of cocooning. You want me? We are still gonna do a version of cocooning. And we decided that we did do a version of cocooning, but you know what? We are the parents, and we can set how strict or not strict, or what boundary is set. And so we did do it, but we did it with like a twist. Traditionally, you literally come home from the hospital. In adoption, obviously, you don't give birth, but you pick up your child. Or even if you do, I'm sure there's other people who have done this with biological children. We're probably not the first. But traditionally, you come home from the hospital, you set a time period, let's say a month, and no one meets the baby at all for the first month. And we didn't want to do that because, like for me, I didn't want to do that because our family was just as excited as us for the baby. You know, they even though the infertility journey was our struggle, like personally, it's not like they didn't know that we were trying. They struggled like with us in, you know, second-handedly, I guess, and they were just as happy and excited. So what we did was, when we got home from the hospital, pretty much right away, but it was very short. It was a very short visit. We allowed my mother and Sam's mom to meet Anna. Yep. And that was pretty much it. Oh, and like one of my aunts. Yeah. That was pretty much it. But it was a very short visit. They met, and like I said in the previous video, they were able to also give us postpartum support. So I think it was important because my mom and Sam's mom made us food, and that food lasted, you know, a while because they made us a lot of food.
That's something called a meal train, which, by the way, you all should do. But
yeah, a meal train is when you have friends and family prep food for you, either right before you give birth or right after, and kind of sharing the responsibility of feeding the family right after you give birth. But yeah, anyway, they made us food, and Sam's mom made me a lot of like traditional Asian postpartum stuff, like food too, that did help me with healing. So I think that was important, and it was important for her to meet her grandmothers and everything like that. So they met her, and then maybe like a week postpartum, after they had met her, had some time with her, we did what we called like closing the house, where then we stopped the visitation. So they met her, they got to spend a little bit of time with her, but then now we wanted our deep bonding. So we let them meet her, and then we closed the house for, it was like two and a half, almost 3 weeks. And then we just didn't have any visitors at that point. And the way her birth and our cocooning landed was actually Easter. So we actually had her, let them meet her, and then we closed the house for like 2.5 to 3 weeks. And then the next following time, her first holiday was Easter. Yeah, her first holiday was Easter. So what we did was, like we said, we let them meet her, have a few days where we did open the house just for main support people, and then we did close the house for that 2 to 3 weeks, have that intense bonding, not have visitors, right, baby? And then since Easter was gonna be her first holiday, we opened the house again and had a small get-together
Yeah.
on Easter where it was also the grandparents and a few more people, my aunt, one of my cousins, her godfather, my father. So it was a few more family members, but it was still intimate enough that I didn't feel overwhelmed as a postpartum mom. And then when it came to more family and bigger family, that was a little bit later, but we just did it in increments and slowly, and I think it was good. Would you do it again?
I definitely would do it again because the experience was, like, I'm not gonna say once in a lifetime because
I guess.
Unless you choose to have one kid, and I'm not saying that it's bad to have more than one, is to each his own. But I'm saying it'll be a once in a lifetime experience for me because it's once in a lifetime for this baby, right? Our first baby, because our future hold, we don't know what it holds, but we are optimistic about where we want to go with our family later on.
Right. I would definitely do it again. I think for multiple reasons. I think that number one, obviously the deep bonding. I loved it. I was not solely breastfeeding, but I was breastfeeding at that time, and I loved just being able to freely breastfeed. And also, like, you're going through the transition as first time parents to become parents, and you're learning, and it's just nice to kind of learn in your bubble before you open it to the rest of the world. It's nice to have time in your bubble, just the family unit. Like, when I say the family unit, not that grandmas and aunties and all those people are not family, but I just mean your household. It's nice to kind of learn your child and this new transition as a family first before you open it. Yeah. But also, guys, as a person healing from giving birth and everything, it was just nice to not have to host. Not that you're gonna have to host, because I know people know you just gave birth or just had a baby when you bring a baby home, but if you have people in your house, it's still not like, you might not be hosting, you're not like making a dinner party or whatever. They know you're coming, they know they're coming over to see the new baby, they know that you just gave birth, they don't expect anything, they're your family, they're your friends, but it's still your home, and you're still gonna feel some sense of responsibility to maybe not fall asleep when you want to take that nap because so-and-so is over. Or maybe, even though they don't care because they know that the house might not be as clean as it always is because you have a new baby, you feel the need to maybe straighten up a little bit more than you actually feel good to do. Or you just feel like entertaining or hosting or being out when really you just want to be in bed with your baby, or really your baby fell asleep and you really want to be taking that 20-minute nap because that's the only 20-minute nap you're gonna get. But now you feel not that you have to host, but you feel like I have to stay awake because these people are in my house. Right. So it just was nice to not have that pressure and to kind of heal and learn what it is to be a mother and what it is to be parents, and that transition, and us as a couple and us as a family by ourselves, and then slowly open that bubble. And hopefully the next time we have a baby, this won't be a reason, but another reason was we still were going through surges with COVID, and we're still very careful with her. And at that time it was worse actually when she was born. I think we had just come off of a surge, or we were like New York was a little back and forth with some new variant that I can't even remember now. But that was another reason, guys. And hopefully when we have another baby, COVID will not be surging, or there won't be something new going on. Hopefully that is not a thing. But that was part of it then. But yeah, I would definitely do it again, just for the close bonding, just for the being able to heal on my own and at my own pace and in our own home, and the comfortability. And I think the way we did it, where we allowed people to meet her first a little bit and then close the house, I think that was better for us.
That definitely did help out a lot in more ways than we can think of, because yes, not only do people want to help, but even when we didn't necessarily need the help, it was just about the company and the thoughtfulness that was going into it. That's really what really touched here.
Yeah. So yeah, guys, I just wanted to do a short video on what cocooning was and why we chose to do it even with our biological daughter, because I felt like it was something that is very important, and it was something that we really, really loved doing. It was something that was a close bonding, but it is something that I've only really heard talked about in adoption and when the parents are adoptive parents. And while that's valid, and if you are an adoptive parent, I definitely think you should think about cocooning to hone that bond with your new child. It's also something that, you know, bonding is always a good thing with your child, and especially people who go through infertility. You know, this is extra special for you guys, and it's something that you can make your own. You know, you don't have to follow our boundaries or rules with it. You don't have to follow the traditional boundaries or rules with it, but you can make it your own. And it is okay to say we want some time with our baby, even though everyone wants to meet them. It's a, you know,
take a stand. They are your baby. That's it. They are your baby.
Yeah. I've known a lot of people that had their first kid and they don't want visitors, but they don't want to say it. And there's just a lot of people, and it can be more overwhelming. And yeah, so if you are someone who's having a child, whether it's biologically or not, you know, it is something you can make your own rules, but do what's best for you. And if you need a little time in your own home or with your own spouse or with your own family, your own kid, it is okay to speak up and say that as well. And if you need postpartum support, it's okay to say that as well. And if you're someone who is a friend or family member to someone who just had a baby, maybe give them a little bit of time. Let them tell you when they want you to meet their kid, or ask, but be okay if they tell you that it's not the best time. So I just wanted to make this video because it is something that I've noticed was only talked about in adoption, and it was something we did even though this was, you know, a pregnancy. And I just thought more people would maybe like to know about it, learn about it, and use it as an option. If you have any other questions or comments, you can leave them in the comments, but that was our experience and I would definitely do it again. You have anything else?
No, that you pretty much touched on everything. Please like, share, subscribe, provide any feedback if you have any about, you know, how to improve the video, or if you want to, like Christine said, if you have any questions or another topic you want us to touch on,
or on this topic if you have any
or
questions.
even on this topic, yes, please let us know. We're all about doing everything and trying to move everything forward.
See you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.